Okay, beginning of the year, we talked about making way for the new. And if we're going to make way for the new, then we also need to live that new life and put on our new self. So we are going to talk about that all week. But today, it's kind of going to be like the Cinderella story. We're going to start in Colossians 3. All week, we're going to spend time there. And today, we'll be in verse 1 through 4. Okay, so let's read that together. It says, "You have been raised with Christ. Set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits on the place of honor on God's right side." You know what? We need to think about that. We need to think about the things of heaven and not the earthly things. And it goes on and says, you died, past tense, you died to this life, and your real life is hidden in Christ in God. Wow. You know, there used to be this show where like a whole bunch of people would imitate one person and they would all say that they're whatever, John Smith. No, I'm John Smith. Oh, I'm John Smith. They would all say, you know, they're that person. At the end, it would say, will the real John Smith please stand up? I used to think that was so funny because each person seemed so convincing. But the thing about this is God is saying that the real us is hidden in him. Yeah. And it goes on, it says, when Christ, who is your life, your real life, is in him, okay, when he is revealed to the whole world, then you will share in his glory. Well, I said this is like the Cinderella story, and this is where it comes to pass. So you know the Cinderella story. You know Cinderella, she was in rags, and she was treated badly by her stepmom, and she did all the hard work and didn't get to eat much, and she had this terrible life, right? And then this fairy godmother comes, which of course we don't believe in, and she like waves her magic wand, and Cinderella becomes beautiful, and she has a beautiful dress, and she has gorgeous hair, perfect skin, and she goes to the ball, and she meets the prince, and they fall in love. Yeah, it sounds so great. It's totally not real. Then what happens? The prince chooses her. Out of all the beautiful women in the kingdom, the prince chooses Cinderella, right? Great story. Totally not real. But what is real? In this verse, what does it say? God chose us. He chose us. And you know what the wonderful thing is? He didn't wait till we were like transformed and we were beautiful and flawless and every hair was in place. He chose us in our lowest, dirtiest, messed up place. That's the place he chose us. And he said, as is, I want to buy you as is. And you know, as is means like if you see a tea set and one piece is broken, but all the other pieces are perfect, and they say, we'll give it to you at a discounted price as is. You know, some pieces not there. It's not complete, but we'll sell it to you as is. And Jesus took us as is. Isn't that wonderful? You know why? Because he saw worth in you. He saw value in you and me. So there's this quote, and it says, the first step to living the life you want is leaving the life you don't want. Now, what is that life you don't want? Well, we talked about that when we said make way for the new. It's leaving behind the old things. Imagine Cinderella, if she gets married to the prince, but she still wants to wear her rags and scrub floors on her hands and knees, and she refuses to sit at the table with the prince because she doesn't feel like she deserves it. That would be crazy. Nobody would buy that book. We would definitely never read it to our children. Why? Because it doesn't make us encouraged. It doesn't make us think that, oh, that's the life I want. But you know what? How many of us do that? Jesus has raised us up with himself to sit beside God in a place of honor, and we still choose to live our own life. You know what? Our real life is where? In him. So going the second mile. What are we going to do? We are going to leave behind the life we don't want, and we are going to embrace the life we want in him.